You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. Well, good morning and hello, kids. Welcome to season number 3 and episode number 69. And I will not make the obvious joke. I will show restraint because as your queen, I go the extra mile for you, dear kids. But I'm thinking it of the Daily Beaver here on the Crier Media Network. Today, recording day is Friday, March 3rd, 2023, and it is going to be a nice day here at the Beaver Lodge. Temperatures slightly above zero for this early March day, and right now, when I'm looking out my window, I don't see a cloud in the sky. So, nice and blue. Nice day at the Beaver Lodge here. I'm your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him, hey, Mr. Beaver, eh? And with me, as always, is my dear friend, Mr. Grizzly. Of course, a big thank you goes to our podcast's founding sponsors, the Peppermaster, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. Today, we have a Friday morning Beaver Bite for you, and we have a very special show because if everything goes according to plan, we have a very, 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 very special guest coming in for about half an hour to do a little chat with us about election influence attempts by China. And I want to be very, very, very careful and with the wording here because everybody's talking about election interference. But really, if we're paying close attention, the only thing we really know about from people who say that they've seen documents that have come from CSIS that have been leaked, but nobody from the public has actually ever seen them yet, is that there was an attempt at election influence. China wanted
there's
influence.
verbiage is important there.
Yes, and it was an attempt. So everybody says the election interference by China as if it was actual interference with the vote, and it actually happened, and it was actually successful. And it was more like an attempt to see if there's anybody that they can influence within the Canadian political system that did not meet a level of threshold of danger to our electoral system that warranted even an investigation by the RCMP. So we have two very, 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 very different tales being told at the moment, and hopefully Mr. Sheikh will be able to help us in our mandate of cutting through the bovine fecal matter and giving us a little bit of civics and letting us know why certain things that are being said can't possibly be true and all that kind of stuff. So, of course, Mr. Sheikh is a family man and has kids at home. So we're hoping he'll drop in around 7:15-ish. But, life is life. So whatever time he is able to give, we are very grateful for, especially since he agreed within like 24 hours. We basically asked him yesterday, and a couple of hours later, he said yes. So we're grateful for his time and his generosity and his willingness to share the knowledge. And whenever he drops in, we will bring him right in to you. But, Mr. Grizzly, how's your mental health today?
Well, Mr. Beaver, when I wake up, I'll let you know. I've worked an insane amount of hours this week at both the day job and this doing editing and production, and I am so tired right now. It's beyond belief. So I have a big bucket of coffee. And you can see this. Let me get it into frame there. This carafe that I dropped. Look what I did. I dropped it, and it's got. Well, I bounced it off of my filing cabinet here where I rest it. You hear the filing cabinet?
Yes.
So, yeah, and I'm going to have to give it a good scrub this weekend if I have the time.
Mr. Grizzly, I must correct you. It is not a bucket of coffee. It is a bouquet of coffee.
A bouquet. Did you purchase that at Target? No, it was IKEA. I got it at IKEA.
Leon's. I got it at Leon's.
Leon's.
Yeah. Speaking of Target, Nordstrom went the way of Target.
Yeah, I saw that yesterday. Bit of a shame. I like the Nordstrom store here in the Rideau Center, which is, like what, a 15-minute walk for me.
Yep.
Went there frequently, bought a number of items there over the last few years, and I really liked the store because what I found interesting about that store was, yes, I could get the $500 pair of jeans.
Yes.
Or on the next rack over, I could get the $50 pair of jeans.
Right.
Like they really did run the gambit from affordable to holy crap.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, they're shutting down their entire Canadian operations because it's not making a profit. 6 Nordstrom stores and 7 Nordstrom rack outlets in the country will close by late June. The e-commerce shuts down today.
Oh, so wow.
Yeah. Yep. And about 2,500 will lose their jobs. It's not just as simple as bringing your U.S. format, just dropping it in Canada and not making any adjustments for the Canadian market.
They've been here for a decade.
Yeah.
I would have thought they would have made, adjustments, but I guess not. Whatever.
Yeah. Other good news I spotted this morning, I haven't had a chance to read in depth about it, but it seems that Canada Soccer came to its senses.
I saw that.
Reached a deal in principle with the national women's team that is similar to the men's. That includes things like per game incentives and compensation based on results. Because as we mentioned, the women had threatened to strike right before the She Believes tournament. I didn't actually check it out. What happened in that tournament, actually, how we finally played. I know we lost the first game to the U.S., but U.S. was team number 1.
Well, they lost. We didn't play.
Oh, we didn't play at all?
No, you and I, we didn't play.
Yes, we didn't play. No, yeah. It's definitely not like all of this was running up and down the soccer pitch for like 90 minutes because after about like 5, I'd be so yeah. About all I did to help was send some good energy. And cheered from the comfort of my home. But yes, they seem to have gotten the deal, and because the women had threatened to strike, and then they were told, well, no, you can't strike because no, sorry, you can't. The job action, what you're doing is we consider you employees, and if you do that, we consider that an illegal job action. And
what are they going to do? Fire them?
Consequences. Well, it's like, yeah, but of course the women on the team couldn't defend themselves because they hadn't been paid at all in 2022 and therefore didn't have any funds to. But it seems that the women did ultimately win because they demanded these types of changes and a change in leadership at the sporting body. And the president of Canada Soccer has stepped down and an interim leader was named earlier this week. So much less resistance from Canada Soccer to get the CEO to step down than was the case for Hockey Canada. So, interim leader named earlier this week for Canada Soccer, and hopefully they will stop using every opportunity that our teams have to shine to step in something.
One would hope.
Yes, because As we mentioned before, it's not many times. Sometimes these types of things, when your team comes out of nowhere to finally make the big leagues, it's a once in a lifetime thing, and that's peak time to try and secure some extra funds for your organization for the future, and they're blowing it.
Oh yeah,
just completely blowing it. So way to go, women. Go get yours.
Well done,
go
ladies.
get yours, because you have definitely earned it, and it was due. Because I was really, really happy that the men's team gave full-throated support.
Yes, they were in complete support of the women's team, which I thought was pretty bloody awesome.
Yep. Well, I mean, they know.
Yeah, of course they do.
They know what side their bread is buttered on. They know who paved the way.
Well, they did. For international soccer from this country, it's women. Hey, let's go back to, again, James Duthie making a major error in judgment by saying during the World Cup, the goal scored was the biggest goal, the biggest moment in Canadian soccer history. Meanwhile, on his panel is a team member of Canada's Olympic gold medal women's national soccer team. I'm going to think the gold medal game in the Olympics is the biggest event in Canadian international soccer history, but
I wish I had seen that moment, because I would have loved to seen the look like, dude, I'm right here.
Oh yeah, and she had that look on her face.
Yeah, you were telling me.
I was watching that with some fellas, and we were all kind of like, and one of my buddies, who he's a couple years older than me, he's 62, 63, and he's like, does he know what he just said? I'm like, I don't think he realizes what he just said. He's like, isn't she? I go, yeah, she was on the panel.
The biggest thing in men's soccer, but not the biggest thing in Canadian soccer.
Not even close.
No.
Anyway.
Shall
we get the day underway, sir?
Yes.
Okay, so first things first, I have to show you this, because it's like, okay, if you insist. I don't know if this is real, but it makes me smile and chuckle because, well, I'll just put this up on the screen. We'll let the kids have a look, and then I'll read it out for the listeners.
All right.
So this is a tweet from Jaw Dropping Tech at jaw_dropping_TEK. I'm just going to leave this right here. And it has a photo of a gentleman in Washington, D.C. wearing toque. His name is Tim Poole. He's the host of the Timcast IRL, so in real life. And on the Chiron for Fox News, it says, woke agenda ended my sex life.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're listening, you're going to have to find this on the YouTube to truly get the reason I put this on screen and the reason I'm chuckling. I'm not making fun of anybody. I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not. You make your own judgment call here. But please explain to me how, if this is at all possible, somebody realizing that bad behavior is a bad thing suddenly ends your sex life. Wouldn't that make you a rapist?
That's a jump.
Well, maybe.
I mean, no, but I mean, if your sex life has been ended, and I mean, if you're doing something about it not being ended without consent, then you're a rapist. But I mean, if it's just ended,
as that side of the aisle always says, I'm just asking questions. Hey, look, if they're going to play that game, I'll play it too. I'm just asking questions.
I know.
It's a Friday morning. I'm feeling rather jaunty. I've got a bucket of coffee. Here we go with the first pour of the day.
The Morning Pour, brought to you by True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated and Don't Dine with Nazis. It's bad.
It's bad. So we'll sidestep that, and then I'm going to jump on something that has a little bit of a social cause from a gentleman who I've been associated with on Twitter for a few years now. I believe you know him as well. I can't remember it. Mr. Mike Gibbs out of Toronto, at Mike Gibbs. And this is a statement about the TTC. He says they're blaming fare evaders because they don't want you to blame them. Fare evaders do not choke the TTC of any funding in a real way. Only politicians do that. They set the budget. Fare evaders are almost always innocent people living in poverty. The blame game is pathetic. And he's right. They're punching down on members of society that are not in a position to defend themselves, let alone barely make it from day to day
Mhm.
in a very tough world. And that leads me to one more thing. I forgot. I meant, usually we have a quick discussion before we go live, and I run stuff by Mr. Beaver, and sometimes I just surprise him. And this is going to be a minor surprise, but it relates to what we just talked about.
Okay.
It's about the productivity pay gap. And if I share this screen,
Yes.
I'll share this screen here, and when you look at it, I'm going to go through. So it's the productivity pay gap. Now, each year from each start of each decade, 1950, productivity growth rate was 50.33%, hourly compensation growth rate 53.14. 1960, 66.62, 69.74. 1970, 87.70, 91.20. 1980, 97.34, 97.34. Even keel. Look what happens in 1990. Productivity growth rate is 109.81%. Hourly compensation growth is 93.64.
Mm-hmm.
2000, 126 to 100. 2010, 151 to 109. In 2020, the productivity growth rate, 164.6%. Hourly compensation growth rate, 117.3%. To translate into percentage, it's 62.5% productivity growth versus 15.9% pay growth. Do you see a problem there? Because I sure as heck do. And the problem being, when people like Pierre Poliver rail on how it now takes 7 years to save for a down payment on a house in Vancouver, 17 years, sorry. He's saying, here's the problem under Justin Trudeau. Before Trudeau, home ownership was achievable for anyone who worked hard and saved for 4 or 5 years. Not according to the productivity growth rate charts I just showed you. Not even close.
Mm-hmm. And to add to that, in the United States, the gender gap in pay has hardly changed at all over the last 2 decades, according to a Pew Research Center analysis. In 2002, women were earning on average 80 cents for every dollar a man was paid. 20 years later, that rose up to a whopping 82 cents.
Wow.
Now, that's on average. Women between the ages of 25 and 34 are closer to parity, but that seems to... the gap seems to widen as the women get older. Men between 35 and 44 who have children tend to get salary increases, while women don't. Hispanic women earn the least when compared to white men, and basically they're attributing all this to things like discrimination, of course, but also that the worth of a college degree is considered to be shrinking in the United States. Maybe that's why they're offering people minimum wage with a master's degree.
Yeah, exactly. I just put the link to that in the chat for those folks who might be interested. It's clockify.me productivity pay gap. It's got a lot of data in there if you want to sort through it. I just parsed through it quickly so I could, put up some talking points this morning, and that's definitely one of them. When Skippy is trying to deflect from his whole dining with Nazi things, he's trying to blame Justin Trudeau for things that aren't under the control of the government. And if he's going to do something about the productivity versus pay gap, wouldn't that make him a gatekeeper?
Bama! Oh, sorry, dramatic go first.
There you go.
Dramatic beaver, sorry, not gopher. Doing an homage to the dramatic gopher. Okay, let's see. I don't really want to get into the meat of the subject before he gets here, but
that's okay. I've got something else.
Yes,
I do have one more thing.
But just to know, kids, it's just we're hoping to get him, but if family issues,
if he can't make it,
we'll
life,
have to
right?
have him another day, right? But just But we'll give some time yet, and then we'll go into stuff if he's not here. And I'm sure there's going to be much more coming from it. So there's going to be no lack of things to talk about down the road if he's able to come later on.
I've got one more thing here for you, real quick. This is our friend Caryma yesterday who tried to see Pierre Poliver, but they gave her the boot because he just can't have anyone in front of him who won't drink his Kool-Aid or possibly confront him with a question he can't or won't answer.
So this was like a public event?
It was a private event that she had tickets for.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you're not familiar with this incident? This happened yesterday.
No. Well, yes. Well, I mean, I saw her sitting in a chair where that guy that was in there came up to her and told her that she could go, but I haven't seen this one.
Yeah, this is okay. So he said she could watch from where she's standing right now. I'll put the video up here. Hang on a sec.
She can watch from where she's standing right now.
Yeah. I'll reshare it with audio so you can hear it.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So he said he escorted her out of the place she was in and said, "You can watch from here." She said, "Okay." And then this took place.
Yeah, we were in the event. I was told that I can stand here and watch the event. I'm not allowed to watch it from inside. I'm not really sure why.
Okay. This is actually common area, and I work for the landlord, so I'm just going to have to ask you to leave.
So we can't even see. Can we talk to Zach? Zach said specifically that as long as I'm behind the yellow line.
But that's their space, and this is the landlord's space.
Okay.
So we're going to ask you to leave.
Am I obstructing, or is this just... There's no...
Well, I don't understand why we're videotaping everything.
Well, I'm here to document the rally, and so this is the reception I received at the rally.
Okay, I'm not comfortable with you videotaping me anymore, so if you can stop, please. She's not doing it. I'm going to ask you to leave, or I'll call security.
Am I... Zach, we're having an issue here with me standing.
Well, this is my... If they don't want you here, that's them. So that's...
Okay.
Can't you vouch for us, Zach?
I cannot vouch for you.
All right, well, that's really disappointing. We drove from Toronto to a Gibbs.
I've already asked you politely to stop videotaping me.
Well, you've asked me kind of impolitely to get out of the hallway, but I'm not...
This is landlord's property.
Sure, I'm not disputing that. I just don't understand the rationale.
Please move a little closer to me.
Okay, thank you. So Zach misled me. He said that I could stand behind the yellow line. Apparently not. I'm not allowed in the building to breathe the same air as Pierre Polyev, which is honestly probably not a bad thing. Anyway, got some time to kill a Kitchener.
But Pierre railed on about freedom of speech, which is not a thing in Canada, when his buddy Jordan Peterson was censured by the governing body who provides him with the license as a practicing psychologist.
Yeah.
He's so about freedom of speech, again, not a thing in Canada, freedom of expression, that he will not allow a Muslim woman of color to document his rally. And here's the problem. She's just going to sit there quietly and film him. Democracy dies in the shadows.
I'm disturbed. I'm listen, it's a mistake I made, right? First, I thought Caryma was black. And she gently corrected me that she's Indo-Palestinian.
Correct.
Right. I don't know if anybody would know that looking at her.
Right.
And for people who are not predisposed to caring about nuance, they don't know if they would care. But I'm getting huge 1950s, 1960s Southern U.S. vibes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
This is... You can have tickets, until we see who you are.
Oh,
now,
and she registered.
Now your tickets are not good enough.
She registered under her real name, too.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Well, yeah, I mean, she's not doing anything underhanded.
Nope.
Right? I mean, she's completely clear about who she is and why she's there.
Mm-hmm.
She's not saying, "Oh, I'm not Caryma Sad. That's my evil twin sister from Genoa City who just right." I mean, it's not. I don't get it. I don't get it. And yeah, of course, the white woman is uncomfortable with being videotaped acting like Alabama 1958.
Mm-hmm.
Did you turn that camera on? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. I'm sorry that we made it difficult or made you uncomfortable to be being racist in public. Yes. Let us again, woman massa, turn off our camera and obey you and do everything you want for your comfort. Because I mean, that's the only thing that matters here, right?
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
and you're just saying that the property doesn't want her there. Like, just you've got no proof. We're supposed to take your word for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, if you don't leave, then we're going to call the cops, and we know what happens when you mix people with, multiply opportunities for people who are blessed with melanin in their skin to have more encounters with the police. That's always works out well for people who look like me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, just call the police and, if something happens to you, not our fault. All we did is call the police and defended our property.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This is not. It's not okay. It's not okay.
It's all wrong.
Jeez. It's incredible, man. It's incredible.
I was just absolutely. Well, so
she's
surprised.
Nice.
Well, I was surprised and not surprised at the same time that happened. I mean,
yes.
They did it to her at the Doug Ford rally,
Yeah.
of which was a ticketed event. She had tickets.
But here's the thing now. Okay. She is so well known now.
Mm-hmm.
She is so well known now. That I'm sorry, this thing is like, okay, you know what? Yeah, we are going to give you tickets because we know you're going to come. And we're going to make you waste your time and waste your money, make your camera person waste their time and waste their money. We're going to have you come all the way down here. And once you get here and you've done everything right, we're going to say, oh no, the rules are different for you.
Mm-hmm.
Why? The rules are just different for you. But what am I doing? We just don't want you here.
It's basically what it boils down to. And we'll make that an issue. Because when it stares you in the face...
And if we don't, well, then we'll put a couple of people that happen to have firearms in your path.
I look, everybody knows how much I despise Skippy. I make it no secret. I'm wondering if I showed up at one of his rallies, would I get the same treatment?
It depends. After a while, if they know who you are, yeah.
But they know who I am, maybe.
But they know who she is, and they give her tickets, and they allow her to come, and then they humiliate and or embarrass her.
Except that this turns around and blows back on them because it makes them look way worse in the long run. It's a glaring example of racism.
But the thing is that for them, their base, this is porn.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you got her. Oh yeah. That's what they're doing at home. That's what they're doing.
Episode 69, right? So
yeah, that's what they're doing at home. They've got one arm going like this as they're watching that.
The banana scrubber. Have you seen the banana scrubber video on FaceTube? You know what I mean. The face page. The banana scrubber. I invented a banana scrubber.
Kids, we're now on FaceTube. Come join us and subscribe there.
Again, I need a bucket of this morning, okay?
Mon Dieu. Yeah. So that's I went to go see the play. This is gonna sound like a little bit of a tangent, but I went to go see the play To Kill a Mockingbird at Stratford a couple of years ago.
Mm.
And I was sitting in the audience, and they had the whole open stage. There was no curtains. It was this whole open stage, and they had 2 screens built into the stage where they're showing newspaper clippings from the era.
Mhm.
And in the newspaper clippings, the N-word is right there,
Yeah. Yeah.
written in full.
Oh, yeah. Huh.
And I was really uncomfortable because at 40 something, it was the first time in my life, thankfully, from having lived in Canada,
Mhm.
that I'd actually seen the word written on a screen ever. Right? Right up there. And then the person, I can't remember his name now, darn, but who plays, the signature bigot
Mhm.
in the play. When he was on stage, I noticed that I was grabbing the armrests of
Oh,
the
yeah.
chair,
Gripping. Yeah.
and I was gripping them like nuts, like my knuckles were white.
Mhm.
I was I was vibrating watching it. And that had never happened to me. I had never been in a room in my entire life where somebody, other than a rap song,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
said the word with the venom. That was the first time I had experienced it. It wasn't even directed at me. I was just in the room where it was happening, and it was for art. And I was vibrating, and my knuckles were white.
Mm.
This is the same feeling I got watching that. I'm like literally everything from about here,
Mhm.
just under the sternum, to about here.
Oh, yeah.
Even here, like this is all feeling twisted and squeezed. That tightening sensation that you get in that part of your body, like this when, as that anger juice is starting to be squeezed. Right?
Oh, yeah.
That feeling right there. Yep. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. I don't like it one bit. All right. Let's see. What else can we talk about? I think we may not get our guest today, Mr. Grizzly, unfortunately. But we will try again. We will try again.
Yes.
And
If
I
he
mean,
can't make it, he can't make it today. Sometimes that's just how life gets in the way, right? We all
oh
have
yeah,
responsibilities, you know.
yeah. It like it's no big no big deal.
Yeah, exactly. I know what you
No,
mean.
I'm trying to say no big deal while saying no biggie at the same time.
No big diggity. No diggity. No
Diggity,
doubt.
diggity. So yeah. All right. Let's go through a couple of other things then.
Well, let me flash this one up.
Yeah.
So you know how whenever we release a new audio podcast, it automatically tweets out that we've done this. So this
Yes.
was last night. New show released, a new episode, White Privilege Palooza, the Daily Beaver Morning Show. And when I scroll down, player links and show notes, here's a pod page. We can go there, and some person, this random person who's been chattering with me, Cosmonaut Alpha. Not your best. I'm available to come in and talk China election interference, give your show a hint of balance. My response: a nameless, faceless, anonymous rando wants to appear on the show I co-host. No.
Define balance.
Well, I don't know who this person is. They have their name is Cosmonaut, and they have a photo of a I don't know who this person is. Why would I bring
They
in?
have alpha in the title.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's get to that, shall we?
Yeah. Or let's not say we did.
Oh, no.
He's coming
no.
to come. Oh, no. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, sorry. He wants to offer a little balance. I mean, sorry, dude. You have alpha. You have to scream the word you're alpha. You're not balanced. You're out of order. Next. Thank you. Next.
Well, let me tell you something about his alpha thing. You gotta. I'm going to show you this because it's priceless. Because it didn't begin with what you just saw. It began with this. And I'm going to blow it up and put it on the screen so you can see it, because I think it's really funny. So this is, my response to Skippy with kicking out Caryma in the video we just watched, and somebody's like bullseye, and then Cosmonaut. Okay, do Trudeau now in reference to JWR, Billy Morneau, etc., etc. LOL, Polly. He doesn't capitalize my name. My friends call me Polly. I don't know you. You don't get that privilege.
Mhm.
You're too easy, man. Non sequitur. Your comment makes no sense. Have me on your little show, Polly. Your audience deserves to hear the cold, hard facts from an alpha male. For every whiny little groan you have about Poliver, I'll give you 3 worse examples of beta Trudeau. If you have to tell people you're an alpha male, then you are most definitely not. I've never voted for Trudeau. Poliver is a coward, a shitgibbon, a vile, racist, whiny little punk. No need to tell a soul. Just today, I had 3 people come up to ask me to shake my hand and call me alpha. It's just who I am. As for the rest, what the hell are you talking about, racist? To which I replied with laughter. I'll take things that never happened for 500, Alex.
Mhm.
No clue who Alex is, but when you're this big, nothing else matters. Men fear me and women can't help but respect me. Damn, it feels good to be this juicy. If you're trying to be a parody account, you should either try harder or give up, because this attempt simply isn't good enough. Have me on your show, Polly. We'll see who's the parody then. You're nameless and faceless. I get the vibe you're a teenage boy with no life experience. I know nothing about you. No, you're not coming on the show.
These people are thirsty for attention. Thirsty for attention. It's crazy.
It's desperate. Have me on your show. Have me on your show. I'll debate you. I don't know who you are. You don't have the cojones to put up your real face and your real name. I'd say you're the furthest thing from an alpha male. I'd say you're a coward cowering in your mom's basement. But maybe I'm wrong. But that's
faceless, nameless, from nowhere. Just, like, come on. And here's the thing, right?
35-year-old adult males living in their parents' basement.
Yeah, I used to be involved in some types of pageant systems for types of things, right? And there was the big international level contest.
Mm-hmm.
The best way to make sure that you never, ever, ever in your life got an invitation to judge the big contest, the big international one. You get to judge feeders and all that kind of stuff. But the best way to ensure that you would never get the opportunity to judge the international one is to ask the organizers of the international one, hey, I've been on the scene for 12, 15 years, but in my how come I haven't been asked to judge yet?
Bye. Yeah. Yeah.
Excuse my language, but who the fuck do you think you are, Cosmonaut, to think that you have the right to even ask to be on the show? Not ask, demand. Especially in the talk. Put me on and I'll show you what a real man is. People come up to me and shake my hand because I'm so alpha. They can't resist. They just their panties drop immediately and they swoon. Even the men's panties drop and they come and shake my hand. They say, oh my God, I'd like to be so alpha. It's like, fuck, dude, you are so delusional.
Well, I mean, my response is I'll take things that never happened for 500, Alex. I don't know who Alex is. Okay, obviously you're a teenage boy if you don't get that cultural reference. Or a Russian troll or a bot.
Or
either way, if you don't understand,
uninformed and uncultured,
if you don't understand that reference, come on.
Yep.
You don't need to be a pop culture media mogul to understand that reference. It's Jeopardy. Alex Trebek. I'll take 500 for things that never happened for 500, Alex. Come on. They used to parody it on Saturday Night Live all the time. Turd Ferguson's funny name. Turd Ferguson. And what was it? The one with what was the actor who played the part of Sean Connery? I'll take the rapist for 500, Alex. That's therapist. Therapist.
Rapist.
There's a whole bunch of them like that. If you watch the SNL stuff with Will Ferrell when they did the skits about Jeopardy, every time they had the character play Sean Connery, everything was a sexual innuendo. Every single thing he said. He'd read the title of I'll take something for 500, Alex, and it was always a sexual innuendo. Misreading. And all you had to do was look at it and go, yeah, that's absolutely a possibility. No normal human being would see it that way, but yeah. Good times. Good times.
Did you ever see the one where they had where they were playing Black Jeopardy
Yes.
and they had
The one
Tom
with Tom
Hanks on?
Hanks. It was really
And then
good.
Chadwick Boswell as well, Blackfoot from Africa.
Yeah. Oh, yes. I understand this reference. Yeah, he was so good.
Oh my god! And because I have a foot in both camps, right? I laughed so hard.
Yeah. Oh, no. It was good. It was good.
Oh man!
And what was it? The one he said, what finish this one. What do skinny women do for me? Not a goddamn thing, I'll tell you that. Tom Hanks. My wife, she's a hefty gal. I like that. Oh God, that was funny. And it's by the end how they were all friends with one another, right? They're like, you're not too bad, Doug. You're not too bad. He had a MAGA hat on the whole bit. Like, oh God, it was funny.
And that's why they don't want us talking to each other.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh man. Let's see. Oh, well, here's this little thing. It's not related at all, but it's we need to give this guy a little promo, given that he helps us a lot here.
Yeah.
Mr. Otter is now a fashion model.
Yes.
Look at this. Look at on the cover of Job.
It's a great
Skills
photo
magazine.
too.
Yeah, it does. It's a great photo. Yeah. It's like, bet you like, about 10% of the men and all the ladies are going, gee, I don't know whether or not to look at the beef on the barbecue or the beef on the photo. Congratulations. I swear, I'm calling it, man. I've called it. I said it a while ago, but this guy is going to end up on the Food Network Canada at some point within the next 3 years,
so.
5 years tops.
I think so too. I really do. I really do.
Yep. Gee, I'm a little bit. Okay, let's do this. Scott Adams, right? Creator of Dilbert, got canceled. And then, all of a sudden, people started because, what is it, public domain or free comment or fair comment? We're taking Dilbert stuff and making little cartoons. The one I was looking for is the one where they're sitting in their cubicles.
Oh yes.
And the cubicles are laid out as a
shaped.
Yeah, shaped like a swastika. They go, how come I never noticed this before? There it is. I got it right here.
You got it? Okay.
Yeah.
How come I never noticed this before? Keep going. Blow it up more. More. Go 200%. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh man. Sorry, man. You can't be going all over the web saying, you need to avoid Black communities and Black people. And hey, I'm doing it. Yeah, and expect to keep your, See, this is what I heard. I can't remember. I think it was a stand-up comedian who was saying, I think that I think it was Hassan Minaj, that we need a stupid tax for rich people, not because of the economy or because we need the money, but it's just like when you've got like this whole gig like this, Dilbert, you're set for life, right? Elon Musk, he's got his SpaceX stuff, he's set for life. And then you come on, you say, hey, I want to own Twitter, or like, you know what? I don't have enough problems.
Yeah.
Let's go over the web and say, and share my thoughts that I should have been on the planet long enough to know will not be well received. I guess let's just go up there and, share those and see what happens. Like this, and let's just have the thing that I put my 10,000 hours, and by the time you get famous, you put in $10,000 hours. So, I mean, he's been famous for a long time. So this thing that I put 100,000 hours of my life into, and let's just flame it all up.
Mm-hmm.
You got too much damn time on your hands.
Clearly.
Like somebody was like, I remember somebody was saying this. I bet you J.K. Rowling, is that her name?
Yes, yeah,
I bet you,
Harry Potter.
I think the joke was, I bet you J.K. Rowling didn't have a freaking single thought at all about trans men or trans women when she was on welfare. But now she
Think?
got money, so she got time. Let's see, with whom could I have a problem with? Which problem should I solve today? Oh yes, trans people using the bathroom. Oh yes, this is a good use of my time.
She's what do they call her? A turf?
Yeah, turf.
What's turf mean again? Somebody explained it to me, and I can't remember anymore.
Basically,
It's not a good thing.
Trans women are not real women, or trans men are not real men.
Yeah.
Type
Not
thing,
a good
right?
thing.
I'm going to refute, because you are different, and I know that you're different. I'm going to refuse to recognize you as one of us.
Yeah, basically. What it boils down to.
Yeah.
That's great. You're probably.
There we go. Trans exclusionary radical feminist turf.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, yep. Dilbert down the tubes. Way to go, guy. Sacrifice your career. Darwin, we got another one for you. I don't understand why people would do this.
I don't know.
I don't understand.
Self-loathing?
Well, yeah, I guess so. Because, I mean, it's like, you'd have to be living under a rock to know that opinion is not going to go over well. Like, even if you did think it, this is the thing, right? Because I'm a strategist. Even if I really, really, really did believe, let's say we're doing the show, and let's say I was like a rampant misogynist in real life.
Mm-hmm.
But this is my career.
Mm-hmm.
This is what pays the bills. Let's say it's not, but let's say.
Right.
I'm intelligent enough to be aware of that. I'm intelligent enough to read a room that say that if I go on my show and I say something stupid and very misogynistic, that I'm going to get a whole bunch of people mad at me, and I may get canceled. So why say it? Like, when you're doing the calculations, the balance of probabilities, and what's in your own best interest, why wouldn't you just keep that shit quiet? I mean, isn't it in your best interest to keep between, I'm going to say something and I'm going to change the world, and that's not going to happen, darling. Or I'm going to say something and my whole world is going to change. Why would you? Where do you lose the computational brain power to figure out the statistics on this one, that this is not going to work out for you? I mean, that's what I mean. This is how far gone you need to be. That you do the math and you still decide it's worth it, or you just don't bother to do the math at all because you just need to get it out. You got something to say and you want someone to hear you.
Yeah.
I don't get the reason. I don't get the logic. I don't know why people would want to do that. I don't. It's just,
yeah.
Why? It's not a smart move in any way. And the few people, well, I mean, I guess it's like you said, if you can find 40,000 people around the world who are willing to part with $100 a year, or even $10 a year, you're making $400,000, $4 million a year, I guess. So, I mean, if you want to grift, then you don't care what you look like, I guess you just go on the web and say these stupid things, and there's going to be somebody stupid enough to send you money.
Yeah.
I mean, in a world of 8 billion people, 40,000 people is not a lot.
No.
40,000 people, I'm sure there are 40,000 bigots on the planet that have $10 to spare a year.
If we could get 40,000 people to send us $10.
But
that's all it takes, though. Yeah.
That's all it takes, right? That's when, when we talk about the world being flat and how the internet and everything having flattened everything up, right? If I'm a musician, like, I don't need to sell 40,000 albums in Canada or in Canada. I need to sell 40,000 albums anywhere around the world.
Yes.
What are the odds that if I make a song like this and it could be promoted and enough people will hear about that 40,000 out of 8 billion might like it?
I'm
Those are
going to
not
think
bad odds,
you're going to connect to a couple of people for sure, right? Like it's impossible not to.
right? Somebody's going to vibe with what you're doing. I
Oh,
mean,
absolutely.
what we learned with the orange shit stain is that there's a market for everything.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
dark web exists because there's a market for everything. Things I would never go shopping for. I wonder how it works on the dark web. It's like, it's like you have like that little shopping cart that you click when you're done. You just and you pass it through your Bitcoin account. It's like I don't know. Thank you for shopping dark web. Your delivery will be expected within 24 hours. It's like it's like, ooh,
Yeah.
my bazooka! It just arrived right on time.
Or my lighter, which was actually a flamethrower.
Yes, I mean, it's a sad day.
So, haven't determined when our next podcast will be. We'll have to discuss that later. But I do have this item for you, sir.
Ooh, c'est
So,
joli.
so that's for mobile studio. So that this was what I was using the other day on remote. I didn't get it fully tweaked out yet, but yeah. So next time you're on the road, you now have everything you need to do a full on the road production. With your laptop, you got your mic cable, you got your USB cable, and you got your digital interface. So that way, when you do a live remote from a Starbucks, like we did not too long ago, you don't have to worry about people in the background because you'll have your headphones and a proper microphone. We're growing. We're growing this up so that, we can do mobile production.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, all right. Let's see what else we've got here in our list. I'm sorry, kids, that I'm a little all over the place today because when Mubin said yes, I kind of stopped preparing anything else.
You never were in Boy Scouts, were you?
I was, but I was a very bad one.
Clearly, you were not prepared. That's okay.
I was more interested in learning how to tie the knots. I was a rather precocious child.
Oh boy.
I'm sorry. I just got a BB.
Is it time to mention our title sponsor, Eleganza, for fashion faux pas? Eleganza, Detroit's choice place for men's fashion.
Oh, man. I'm so sorry, kids.
Stuff happens.
All right.
I have to go into the office at 11, but I've got time, so clearly we're good to go.
All right. Let's see. Okay. A little more on the Alberta budget and the BC budgets that I was able to pick up. The Alberta budget will have more money for health, education, and public safety, as well as some debt repayment. Alberta Minister of Finance Travis Tays has said that there will be about $68 billion in spending, which is about a 10% year-over-year spending increase, which is interesting for a conservative government. But of course, they are going into an election, so they're going shopping for voters. Can't really blame them. All parties do it, but conservatives like to put on the veneer of being good and responsible with money. Things. They all do it, kids. They all do it. So there really isn't much about the budget, it seems, that's going to address fundamentally the uncertainty about volatile energy prices, which is basically the main thing that's going on, because the reason for which Alberta has a $2.5 billion surplus that they're predicting for the following year, which is down from about 10 from this year, is because the price of oil is high. That's about the only reason. There's a little bit of increased savings that they said that they're going to do with the Heritage Fund, as you mentioned, but relative to the size of the budget, it really doesn't do much, says Trevor Toome, who's an economist for whom we have a lot of respect out of the University of Calgary. The budget is set some rules. Basically, they're calling them fiscal rules that would mandate eliminating deficits and prioritizing paying down debt in future budgets, that type of stuff. a lot of that is virtue signaling, really, because any other government can come and change that. And, you know, right now they seem to be talking about that more in terms of doing that in the good times when they have surpluses, but, you know, oil booms and busts. But what they're talking about, the fund itself, is that what they were doing, it seems, is that they were leaving the principal in it, but they were, when the interest was gaining something, they were taking it off the top. So Taze says that so basically they said that they're looking at maybe leaving more of that in there, leaving the interest in the Heritage Fund so it can benefit from the effect of compounding. But it doesn't look like they're talking about putting too much more in it. I don't know if they're planning to make some contributions. They're going to pay down some debt, but I don't know if they're going to take a portion and make a contribution to the fund, or just simply stop skimming the interest grains off the top so that at least there's compounding. But at least there would be that. Because the thing is, right, if you just leave the basic amount in the account with inflation, the value of that account drops if you don't leave the interest to compound in there. The real value of it over time just drops. So it's not a smart long-term economic play. So hopefully at least leaving the interest in it will do some good for the citizens of Alberta. But really, there should be a chunk. There should be a law that says, what if we're making X number of surplus, there's 10% of that, like tithe or something like this, that automatically just goes in that fund. You don't get to touch it. Nobody does. They're not willing to go that far. They're legislating other rules that will limit spending increases to inflation and to population growth, all that kind of stuff. Again, right, they can say that until something happens. Oh, well, we can't do that anymore. Circumstances have changed. It creates the budget is going to create about 7,600 new government jobs, a good portion of them in healthcare, about 3,600. Let's see what else. With regard to the interests, Minister Tay says we're going further than that. It includes a framework that will govern the use of surpluses and will prioritize debt repayment, but will also allow for additional investments in the Heritage Trust Fund. Okay, so they're looking at maybe making some additional flexibility for one-time projects that align with strategic government priorities, which is really weird because in that sentence they're saying, on one hand, yes, it will allow for additional investments, it will allow for, doesn't mandate, doesn't guarantee, but will also allow some additional flexibility for one-time projects. So additional flexibility to go into the fund and pull out for one-time projects. So you're given with the right while taken away with the left then. Because strategic government priorities change. And if you really, really want something, then you just have to declare it a strategic government priority. So again, it looks the words are clever. Let's just put it that way. Apparently, they are also going to invest yet more money in carbon capture and storage. The province of Alberta says that it has invested about $2.8 billion in carbon capture and storage to date. I don't know how much carbon we are capturing and storing for all of that investment at the moment, but my guess is that it's not a lot. So again, had we relied on Harper all those years ago, well over a decade ago, saying, it's like, oh, we don't need to do anything concrete right now to help fight climate change and help reduce our GHGs. We'll just keep investing in technology, and somebody someday will come up with something brilliant out of the blue that will just change everything. But in the meantime, let's just keep pumping this stuff up. That was basically the strategy. Keep pumping it up, pumping more of it, cross our fingers, and hope someday some smart person will invent something that we will take forever to deploy. Right. So, yeah, not sure exactly how much value we're getting in terms of actual capture and storage with regard to that. But the province is setting aside its carbon levy. Ironically, Alberta has decided that it would start charging carbon tax. to businesses in order to be able to fund carbon capture and storage projects. So basically, they're going to take that money and they're going to put it into a technology that is still unproven and still has not yielded the benefits that they promised it would 15 years ago. And they also have the Alberta Petrochemical Incentive Project, which provides a 12% grant to companies, I guess, to help reduce GHGs or something with regard to chemicals, because it seems that they can't use the profits they generate from having doing that. To do that, they need a 12% grant from you. It seems.
Apparently.
Yep. Socializing the downfalls, privatizing the profits.
That's the way they always do it. Socialism for the wealthy corporates, rugged individualism, bootstraps for the rest of us.
Ah, yes. And then they get to speak about us, the few of us that imagine to squeeze out from the bottom and get somewhere to the middle and speak of us in very waxed romantic terms. Look at him. He did it all by himself. He was a self-made. No help from anybody. Just his grit and his determination. Bite me. Sorry, but it's true. Taze claims that the UCP government had inherited a budget that spent $10 billion more than comparable provinces on a per capita basis after the NDP left. I do not know if that's true or not, but he's saying it. And he said that in early 2020, the UCP pre-Danielle set a fiscal anchor of aligning their spending with the average of Ontario, Quebec, and British Columbia. He says that now has been achieved. The ratio of public servants in Alberta in 2019, public servants to 1,000 population was 6.44. It is now down to 5.8, which was achieved mostly through attrition. But things are growing a little bit. People are saying, well, isn't that contradictory then that your budget is growing by 10%? If that's the case, well, the reason for that is because Alberta is leading the nation in population growth by nearly 3% per year. So that they're at the point now, but all the attrition they've done, they need to stop doing the attrition because they need the people they need the bodies there and hopefully you get the bodies there before the growth happens, not after. So that the services are there when people need it. Not, oh my God, we didn't prepare for this and now we have a gap that we need to fill. Scramble.
Oh no.
Yes.
I've got one for you. Quickly.
Okay.
Reed just put this in the chat, so I thought I'd bring it up to show everybody. From Caryma. Canada is freedom, and freedom is its nationality, declares Pierre Poliver, quoting Sir Wilfrid Laurier, on April 19th, 2022. So why exclude me from a publicly advertised rally only because I express myself freely on Twitter? That is a brilliant clapback. God, that's good.
That's very good.
That's so good. I had to put that up right away because my goodness gracious.
Well, again, it's freedom for, as Pierre likes to say, our people.
Mm-hmm.
We need to keep the streets safe for our people. That's the problem. The problem is the word our. Who is our when he speaks? Please define our and we and us. Those words matter.
Oh, yeah.
They're short words. 2-letter words and 3-letter words at the most. But what his definition of us and we and our is what matters here. He's not campaigning for all Canadians.
No, he's not.
Hugh just goes, freedom's just another word for keeping the undesirables down. I like the thought. I just don't know if it rolls out of the tongue. Freedom's just another word for keeping the undesirables down. Maybe one too many syllables. Keeping the undesirables.
Christmas is all around us. We could make it work. We can make it work. If you really love Christmas, come on and let it snow. That's a pop cultural reference for those of you who don't know from the film Love Actually.
Mm-hmm. And in British Columbia, their budget will be recording about an $11 billion deficit over the next 3 years. But they will be spending more than $6 billion in new health funding and $1 billion in particular for mental health and addiction services. The government is promising to make housing more affordable, including a tax credit for renters with household income up to $60,000. So there you go. That's about the more additional details that I've been able to get from that, but I will be keeping my eyes and ears open for more kits, and I'll be delivering it to you as it happens, because a lot of provinces and territories will be delivering budgets over the next month or so. So hopefully I'll be able to get you the highlights as much as possible for all of them as they come in. So there you go, kits. Just some news you can use with regard to that. What else do we have today? Boop, 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 boop. Oh, yeah. Well, this I wanted to talk about with Munin as well, so I will not do that one.
Moving.
I will wait for that. Yeah, moving. Sorry, I mispronounced that.
That's okay.
Yeah. Joni Mitchell.
I was just being pedantic.
No, that's okay. No. It's someone's name.
Mhm.
Joni Mitchell. Again, getting honors. She was awarded the U.S. Library of Congress's Gershwin Prize for Popular Music. She is the first Canadian to ever win the award.
Kick ass.
Yeah. There was a star-studded induction ceremony, which aired on PBS. Hopefully they will show it as a rerun, because I did not know it was happening before it was happening, because I would have watched it. That had performances, and it Brandy Carlisle, of course, was there. James Taylor was there, of course, good friend of Joni Mitchell, and Annie Lennox as well was present. Yes, and she said she basically probably would not have started songwriting were it not for the songs of Joni Mitchell.
Wow.
Well, there you go. And it's not like Annie Lennox isn't quite a bit of a poet on her.
No kidding.
When she writes, and a great performer and legendary and long, lengthy career. And yeah, I mean, we're probably going to be talking about Annie Lennox in similar terms down the road.
Agreed.
Yeah. I mean, for the era, right? Because, she came in, early 80s, 82, 83, with at the start with a video. And she was one of the first people that had that sort of chameleon character, sort of like Madonna has as well. Change her entire look, change her entire vibe, change her, like the difference between Sweet Dreams Are Made of This and Would I Lie to You, which is like super soulful with a huge horn section, with I Love to Listen to Beethoven, to I Need a Man, where she's just purring and growling through the song, and, and just all the different, reinventions. Joni Mitchell probably would have, had she become popular in the age of video, probably would have been that, because, I mean, she does everything. I mean, she's done folk, she's done rock, she's done some jazz, she's done, she's had, she had that stroke, and had still learned to play the guitar over again and sing again. And apparently she was even dancing a bit on stage during this, during the show. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yep. It's just that she's got that fire, that spirit in her. That life force that's very strong, and that's very, very, very infectious. So congratulations, Miss Mitchell. Well deserved. A lot of people might even say long overdue. But first Canadian to ever win the Gershwin Prize for Popular Music.
Cool. Oh, hey, I got some breaking news here. Breaking news.
Yes.
Yeah, from Tucker Carlson.
Oh.
According to Tucker, Canada has turned into atheist totalitarianism.
Right on.
And that's a bad
Open
thing
bar
now.
for everyone.
I'm like, I didn't know that was the case. I'm just getting this news now.
Kits, that's the end of this episode of
We're out of here. To the pub.
I feel seen. Tucker, for the first time, you got it right. I I I feel so validated. I'm not equipped. I don't know what to do with that all of a sudden.
We got to come up with remember on this Flintstones when Betty and Wilma would decide to go shopping, it was da 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 da, charge it. We need to come up with something like to the pump.
To the pump, to the pump, to the pump, 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 to the pump, to the pump, to the pump, pump, to the pump, pump.
That's where we do the live podcast, the Lieutenant's Pump.
Oh my god. Who said that? Oh, come on. I just saw. Oh yes, Kit Hugh. Didn't he want to invade us, Tucker? We don't. I don't even want him touching me, even less invading me. He can keep that. You can keep that, but hopefully our strong atheist energy will act as a force field at our border and repel them. Oh God, we can't go there. That's atheist country. You go to Canada and their socialized medicine will curve your spine. And
why does he always look like he just soiled himself? Like he always looks like he just soiled himself.
And that he's surprised that it happened.
Yes. Somebody needs to change his diaper.
It's like, I just peed myself. Oh my God, it's happening. I'm pooping.
Yeah.
Right now. That's all I see.
You like that one? Yeah.
Pardon me, guests. I'm having a Maalox moment.
There you go. You got it. You just got it. You nailed it. That was the one right there. You need to cost it a screen cap that and play with it a little bit.
Oh man, that guy, man. Bless his soul. That's all I will say. Bless his soul. Oh crap. A little more you know what, since we're laughing about Fox, let's do it. It seems that the Democrat House leader, Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, and the Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer got together and wrote a letter to Fox News stating the leadership of your company was aware of the dangers of broadcasting these outlandish claims. That's about the Dominion Voting Service claims that, dead Chavez sent somebody to operate the Jewish space lasers to have them change the votes or something, whatever it was. But yes, the leadership of your company was aware of the dangers of broadcasting these outlandish claims. By your own account, Donald Trump's elections claims were, quote, damaging and, quote, really crazy stuff. Now, they want some of the hosts to acknowledge that they lied on the air and are demanding coverage of the story in such a way to cease, basically. Now, typically, it's very, 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 very bad form for elected officials to write to a media outlet and tell them what they should produce or say.
Mm-hmm.
However, the content in question being asked that something be done about is not news, but defamation. So, I mean, yes, normally there is a line about writing a news company or media company to say, we don't like the way you're covering this. Can you stop doing that and cover us in a different way? But it's a little different when you say, could you please stop defaming us because you're breaking the law? That's the exception here to
Yes.
that rule. And it seems that, it was actually said in the deposition by Rupert Murdoch himself, quote, because the lies were good for Fox's business. And that's why they did that. Now, and here's like the big irony now. Fox, the network itself, which Rupert Murdoch says the whole network is not liable.
Mm.
Even though the network did nothing and did not try to curtail it and didn't send any messages out to the commentators that Murdoch himself does say, endorsed. And it's endorsed in this case is a very specific word because it doesn't mean not only did they give platform to it, but they themselves as the hosts were endorsing this as being a true thing. Right. So Fox responded, and please, if you need to hold on to something, because, when somebody says something that's just so really, because you're going to fall down. Okay. Here's what Fox says. Dominion's lawsuit has always been more about what will generate headlines than that which can withstand legal and factual scrutiny. That's your whole fucking mandate, Fox. Wait, Fox is upset that somebody is doing something that can gain public attention that is more about the headlines it will generate than that which can withstand scrutiny, factual scrutiny, legal and factual scrutiny, as they're being sued for defamation for having published something that would generate headlines because, quote, it was good for Fox's business.
Here's a good one.
The goal. Again, do you smell yourselves?
Clearly they don't. Here's a good one. You're going to love this one.
Wow.
Check this one out. This is good. This is good. Watch this. Watch this. Oh, I got to redo that. There was no sound.
Well, the sound will be on the podcast, but there was no sound for me. So unfortunately.
Okay, I'll fix that. Hang on. I got it now. I'll fix it now. Here we go.
Okay, so people listening at home, sorry, you're going to hear it twice.
Oh, no, they'll only get it once.
Oh, they'll only get it once? Okay.
Yeah, they'll only get it once because I'll edit out anything that wasn't there.
Okay.
Okay. So here we go.
What's your big beef with the Nazis?
With the Nazis.
Knocking the Nazis.
Can you hear that?
Yep.
Okay.
So it's time for Mel Brooks to knock the Nazis.
Trump voters are Nazis. Anyone who opposes election fraud is a Nazi.
I hope that isn't too much information for us to know.
Very damaging to the economy, having all those children, all that new life.
Peter, they're so upset.
What else are they even thinking about it, Peter?
Ooh, these things are hard to open. Ooh, I can't.
Well, there's nothing we can do. It's bad. We can't do anything.
When you do something like that.
But it's not entirely a stupid ad. What? Wait, stop for 1 second here.
What's that about?
What's that about?
Yeah.
That's good old-fashioned poverty.
He was homeless. He was a victim. He was part of a protected class.
But the Jew have rage.
George Soros funds radical DAs who encourage more crime and allow people to get murdered.
Well,
Tucker Glick. Except I still like Jimmy better.
Yeah.
He has much more charisma. I'd have a beer with Jimmy.
Oh, yeah.
I'd pour a beer on Tucker. Actually, no, I wouldn't pour a beer.
That's a waste of a good beer.
Why do that to beer?
Exactly.
Like this, let's just give me that bottle of well stuff that hasn't sold in 25 years. Yeah, pour that on it. Don't worry, you can write it off. You're not going to sell it anyway. So so basically Schumer and Hakeem Sefries just basically said, I think Leader Schumer and myself simply expressed the position that since everyone seems to clearly understand that Joe Biden won the 2020 presidential election, that perhaps it's time for America to be able to move past the big lie, and an important step would be those who know it is a big lie to publicly repudiate it. You think? Now, Murdoch actually named Sean Hannity, Maria Bartiromo, Lou Dobbs, who's no longer with Fox, and Jeanine Pirro by name as people who endorsed it. So the next office meeting is going to be really interesting, I'm sure. And of course, Murdoch says that their claims, the reason for which they should not be held legally liable is because their host's claims were taken out of context. Really?
Seriously?
Because everybody up on the hill on January 6th seemed to have gotten the context quite right, given the defamation suit. Yeah, I think. Oh, no. It was taken out of context. Okay, what was the context? The painfully obvious question. What was the context in which deliberately lying about should have been taken and being told that the election had been stolen? Then what was the context that was supposed to be taken in then? Go on. We've got time.
We'll wait.
Oh, do you need some music? Do, 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 do. Do we need to put that on a loop for you? It looks like it might take you a while. Do, 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 do. Just...
Wow.
So yes, and if you look at all these emails that are going by that are now public, Carlson, Hannity, and Ingram mercilessly mock Trump. They mock his views and his claims while they're communicating between each other. So I'm sure that's going to go over very well. Mr. Former President Rumpled Thinskin. He's going to love that. Murdoch apparently even floated the idea, things had gotten so bad, of the three of them, Carlson, Hannity, and Ingram, appearing together in primetime to confirm that Biden had won the election. But I guess they decided to pass on that somewhere along the way. But they thought about doing it. What, consciousness of guilt, maybe?
One would assume.
Yeah. There was also an effort at the network to stop fact-checking the lies. Remember when I told you yesterday there was a war between the news division and whatnot and the opinion division? The opinion division. Actually, I got some people reassigned and maybe even fired from the news division for having contradicted the opinion. People?
There was a few people let go from that, actually, and they discussed it after their NDA was basically tossed out by their own lawyers, you know?
Yep. And court documents, here's a very interesting thing, show that Paul Ryan, former Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, who is a member of Fox's board, turns out, because Fox is a publicly traded company, so it has a board. Apparently, he warned Rupert Murdoch and his son, Fox Corporation CEO Lachlan Murdoch, against, quote, spreading conspiracy theories and, quote, to move on from Donald Trump and stop spouting election lies. But they did not listen to Paul.
Of course not. The election lies get them money, get them rating.
I know, and I never thought that I would say these words, but go Paul Ryan?
Yeah. Hey, go. Broken clock. Broken clock. Right twice.
All Ryan Liz Shady, yay.
Excuse me, I need to go take a shower now.
Hey, listen. Right? A lot of people forget this. A lot of people forget this in politics, right? But the number one thing in politics, especially if you're in a democratic nation, is the state of your democracy. Oh, now we have been very fortunate as Canadians that most of us have gone our entire lives without having to worry about that for one instant, because we knew we were good.
Oh yes, I got to jump out for just a second. I'll be right back.
Okay. But before we're talking about economy, right? Yeah, it's the economy. It's the economy. Oh, we have to do it for jobs before we talk about the economy or the jobs or what about the children? Save the children. If your democracy is not healthy, if people have basically told you straight to your face, hey, I'm coming for your democracy, and you don't believe them, and then they actually do start coming for your democracy, like what's going on right now with trying to spin attempted Chinese election influence as being successful Chinese election interference that flipped seats. People are trying deliberately. They're putting time, effort, conscious thought into getting you to no longer trust your democratic institutions. And that's the main difference between a lot of these, when we're talking about these election influence interpretations, is that if you think about it, what benefit is it for China, right, to be so obvious in what they are doing? There would be no benefit. So if you're trying to affect the votes at the ballot box, which is what some of the conservatives are seeming to try to create the feeling that this had happened, that's way more obvious. It would be way more clever to try to see if there's anybody in the area who might be open to things that you believe in. If you see them and, oh, he seems to be saying things that, dovetail very well with what we need. She seems to be saying things, or doesn't seem to be as harsh against us as other people are. Let's give this money to this person, have that person, try and make a donation, try to establish a relationship, try to see if this person really is on our wavelength. That if it is, well then, let's find a way to support this person, because if this person does get into power, maybe they'd be more amenable to seeing things our way. That's influence. That's an attempt to influence our politics. It's not interfering in an election. It's interfering with our politics. And the thing is that this doesn't work very well in the long run, because if you happen, let's say, to be a Liberal MP who was willing, let's say you were even in cahoots with it, what happens when you're in caucus with 150 or 60 others of your fellow MPs, and you're one of the only few that's taking a position that's kind of pro-China? You kind of stick out like a sore thumb, right? So even if they did manage to influence a nomination meeting to get of all the people eligible to run as a Liberal candidate in that riding, the one that might be more favorable to them, and let's say they even help and try in the election by, saying bad things about their opponents, or having people associated with their consulate in Toronto saying bad things about the other candidates to help raise the profile of the other one, and that one person wins. All of that can be done without the knowledge of the party or the candidate in question that they favored. It's just placing a bet. And when you're a big geopolitical power, it's not like you don't have a lot of money to place a lot of bets. Right? We see it often in corporate situation where the corporation will give some money to one party and some money to the other one as well, because they want some favor no matter who, but they probably give more one to the other, the one that they prefer. But they do cover their bets. It's an investment. Geopolitically, it's the same way. So, and it's not like China isn't flush with cash. So, so all this can be done without, basically, the knowledge of the candidate, I guess, and its influence. It's at a much smaller level. It's much more subtle. So, where's the line between just being involved and being engaged and trying to influence, and where is that line too much? And these are all things that you need to investigate, but it's way more subtle. There's way more nuance. It's not like China's somewhere in a room hacking computers trying to flip tally votes. It's not like they're, I mean, yes, they are probably trying to recruit people to go and actual vote on a certain day and try to organize them and that type of stuff. But it's very, 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 very hard in Canada to change the results of an election.
Mm-hmm.
Just with our, just our paper and pencil and counting each vote, and, the way that votes are counted, the actual counting of the votes, all the security checks. It is actually very, very, very hard.
Well,
right?
and we don't use voting machines. We only use paper ballots, right?
Yes. So is the goal really like this, to interfere with our elections, or is it to, like Russia, for example, likes to do is to try to take fault lines in society, I guess, and expose them to show that democracy doesn't work. Well, China is trying to achieve its global domination through weaponizing essentially capitalism. So trying to be as capitalistic as it can, and then taking all the profits of that and using it for a socialistic aim or communist aim. But they still need the capitalism part to work.
Oh, yeah.
In order to do that. So again, what interest would it be for China to try and influence an election in a way that would be so blatantly, obviously criminal that the party that they helped win then gets taken down? It's not in China's interest.
No.
So they're not interfering in the election, in the vote, in the counting, whatnot. It's more like they are trying to influence at the lower levels, at the nomination level, who gets to represent, in the hopes that there'll be a certain number of people that are more favorable. And they're not the only nation doing it. But it's way, 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 way more subtle. And way, way more difficult to accomplish, which is why probably their efforts never met the threshold, because they were probably just damn too subtle. They still got found, but too subtle to have. They still got found out, but it's too subtle to have an impact. So the simple getting us to doubt, right? Just the doubt, the sowing the doubt alone may be the objective. This could be the objective, but where I would see as China being different than Russia is that China doesn't really have an interest in our society being unstable, just stable and favorable to it. As opposed to Russia, that definitely has an interest in our societies being unstable because they really need to prove that democracy doesn't work. You can't do better than me.
Is that all of Russia, or is that specifically Putin?
Well, it's Putin specifically. I mean, Putin's at a point now where he's lost so much that he needs to just keep doubling and doubling down on that. He can't reverse now. So it's basically the more he can prove that other countries are either ganging up against him and that I am the only one who can defend Mother Russia, right? The I am the only one thing. We are the only party. I'm the only one that can defend Mother Russia. So you got to keep me. Yes, or just keep on trying to destroy unity over here so that he can keep on taking pictures of things like, riots and protests after, something like a George Floyd execution by cop happens, and then broadcast it all over Russia. See what's going on over there? You can't do better than me. Even if you don't like it here, even if it's pretty, you get rid of me. What? It's not better anywhere else. You're stuck with me. Right? It's almost like a battered wife thing. Who else is going to want to lead you? Who's going to want to have you? Who's going to want to have you? You think you can do better than me?
Well, I'd say battered spouse syndrome.
Battered spouse syndrome, yes. You think you can do better than me?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. It's cult of personality is what it is.
It's creepy as fuck.
Mm-hmm. I have something I want to share with you quickly from earlier this morning, 6:15 a.m.
All right.
From Charles Adler.
Ooh, Charles.
So his response to Pierre Poliver stating the radical NDP liberal agenda of flooding the streets with heroin, fentanyl, and crack has more than tripled overdose deaths in BC. That's a complete fallacy. I will end the chaos on our streets and bring home treatment and recovery to save lives. Charles Adler responds with, let's be clear, I'm highly aware that you are not an idiot. Equally aware that on social media you play the role of one who is making assertions disconnected from facts. Bald-faced lies, offering opinions connected only to ideological hate. You're doing politics for idiots.
Yes. I mean, and here's the thing, right? There are actually people that are believing that the federal government itself is producing drugs laced with fentanyl and benzodiazepines and whatnot like this and separate and like this and actually going out and killing people.
Yes, because that, that's really good for the economy is when you start randomly killing your citizenry.
Well, it's also great for the economy that you're saying that you're. It's also equally great for the economy going all over Twitter saying on a public forum that the current government of the day is doing it. See, this is the thing, right? People can sue people for defamation. I guess I'm just like, at what point? Where is the line? Where is the line? Because literally saying that the government of Canada is is deliberately flooding our streets with fentanyl to like this, and I will put a stop to it. That's not happening.
No.
It is not happening at all. The government is providing safe supply. Safe. Not fentanyl-laced supply. Safe supply. Supply that is not laced with fentanyl. Because the element that Skippy keeps on seeming to forget is that you got to keep people alive long enough to get them into treatment.
Can't treat somebody who's dead.
And you can't, at least constitutionally, you can't pull someone off the street and say, well, you're going to treatment. Well, I don't want treatment. Well, you're going anyway, and we're forcing you into it.
Yeah, we don't do that. We don't do that.
So if you can't force people, unless he's going to be pulling people off the street and forcing them into treatment, and he's against government providing a safe supply. He's marketing provision of safe supply as being government actually putting more fentanyl and causing more death. And he's never once talking about all the overdoses that are reversed at safe injection sites. He keeps on saying the government's killing more people. Yeah, really? Not one person has died in Canada from consuming a medical heroin. That little, sometimes you see people at the pharmacy, they're sitting there like this, they wait and they have a cup and they sit there and they leave. Methadone. Nobody's died from using that. Nobody has died. Not one Canadian in all the years that there have been safe consumption sites in Canada from the first pilot, not one person has died in Canada at a safe consumption site. Yeah. Not one. Many overdoses that would have resulted in death have been reversed, though.
Oh, yes.
Many lives were saved.
Oh, yeah.
How many certain people's lives were saved more than once? He's not talking about any of this. He's just saying the pilot project to decriminalize small amounts, 2.5 grams, which is not even enough for a junkie to use in an entire day.
No, it's not. And we've already
4 times.
We discussed that in the past. Yes.
Yes. That alone, the decriminalization of that small amount alone, is being represented by Pierre Poilievre as the government flooding the streets with fentanyl-laced drugs and killing more people.
I'm trying to maintain a sense of calmness about me right now, but you know I'm raging inside and want to scream expletives at him for just bald-faced lies.
Yes, let's think of it.
Lies.
There's a reason the first taste is free.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. You know what? You wanted to look down on your nose on somebody who decided that they were going to try drugs for the first time? Fine, that's your right. But drugs are designed to hook you. And if you take that first taste and that one taste was enough to hook you, it's like,
yeah.
It's not just you now. It's not just a personal decision. Your body's craving it. Psychologically, you're starting to crave it. You are not. It's like, well, during that, when people become really addicts at one point like this, they're just taking their next fix to bring them back up to zero because they don't like the DTs and all that kind of stuff. Well, why don't they make the decision to get off of that? Because your entirety of your existence is focused on not going down into the DTs again.
Mm. That's what it is. Trying to avoid getting that sickness, right?
You're not thinking about, oh, maybe this is a good time for me to stop, or maybe I should
It's survival for survival's sake at that point, right?
And that's where you start getting the petty crime.
Mm-hmm.
because people would rather break into a car window, and if they see some change sitting there like this, then go to
Something
another
they can sell.
It's just,
Yeah. I've got some breaking news.
Yep.
From the Ottawa Bureau of the Beaverton.
Ooh.
Following reports that China may have attempted to interfere in a recent federal election, Canadians of all political stripes are up in arms at the idea that foreign powers would try to influence politics in Canada without first buying Canada's largest newspaper chain. Here's a quotation from Kirk Dunby, political analyst. If China wants to affect the outcome of Canada's elections, they should do it the old-fashioned way by owning a 66% stake in Post Media. The idea that a foreign faction might have used clandestine means to manipulate Canada is horrific. That kind of thing should be done in the open, in the editorial decisions of a large media monopoly. Chatham Asset Management, an American hedge fund with links to the U.S. Republican Party, has owned the majority of Post Media since 2016. While it's technically illegal for non-Canadians to control Canadian media properties, it's not illegal for them to own said properties, centralize editorial oversight, and make deep cuts to spending on local journalism. And Canadians are absolutely fine with that. That's from the Beaverton. If you're unfamiliar with the Beaverton, it is the Canadian counterpart of the Onion. It's Canada's best fake news website,
along with Walking Eagle News.
Yes, and what's the other one?
Do you know why they call it Walking Eagle? By the way, because the eagle's so full of crap it can't fly.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's good. I'll put a link here in the chat for those who want to. If you're not familiar with the Beaverton, you should be. They had a web show, and I think they had a television show on the Comedy Network
for a while. Yeah.
I don't know if it's still on or not. I don't have cable, so.
But the Emma Hunter and Miguel Rivas.
Yes.
I like them two playing together too. she can be. I'm sure Emma Hunter is a really, really, really nice lady in real life, but man, she can play the self-absorbed, just so well. I love her. She makes me and my inner bitch are like this, and she makes my little internal bitch very, very happy.
According to the Beaverton, this is from 7 days ago. I'm just catching this now. Foreign spies are the only people still interested in Canadian politics.
And wait a minute. Whoa, Grizzly, Mr. Grizzly. I think our cover just got blown.
Shh. Don't tell anybody.
Because we're interested. Oh shit, kids! You did not hear that. No, we are Canadian. See, I even got it on my chest. I am not a foreign spy. Right, Mr. Grizzly?
Nudge, nudge, wink, wink, say no more. A nudge is as good as a wink to a blind bat, eh? Your wife, does she like to take pictures, Pictures, snapshots, eh?
We're not foreign spies. We're born right here in Ottawa.
Here's another good one from the Beaverton in regards to Ms. Julie Black.
Ooh.
I think I'll share this because it's just too good. Changed O Canada lyrics received with understanding and nuance by Nation's Troll. Yes. Not only did she switch the word from and to on, opines self-described shitposter Leland Cameron from Nanaimo, BC, she emphasized the on so you couldn't miss it. Normally I'd pounce on that, but for some reason I feel the need to get on as many comment sections as I can and write something sensitive and respectful. They really are good at the Beaverton. I love their look. I'm pretty sure the late Stephen Leacock would absolutely love their work because their satire is brilliant. And if you're not familiar with Stephen Leacock, look him up. He was a brilliant satirist known the world over and Canadian. BT Dubs. BT Dubs, by the way, if you didn't quite click into that.
Here's the thing I was looking for earlier. Here you go, Mr. Grizzly. When we're talking about those people who seem to be really, really, really desperate for attention.
Mm.
on the side. Here we go. Theo Mudakas, who we really like, great cartoonist. And then
Fringe Derek.
Fringe Derek, the guy our suspected planted by Pierre Heckler at the Ukraine rally.
Mm-hmm.
Like this goes up to Theo and goes, "I'm kind of disappointed Theo Mudakas didn't do a comic about me." And Theo goes, "And who are you?"
If you didn't know who I am,
I don't know which he was oh no, see, he wasn't even responding to what, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like this, because you've seen what he is, like the cartoon that Theo did that doesn't feature him. He's not responding to it. He just, so out of the blue, I'm kind of disappointed. Now Theo says, "And who are you?" He goes, and then Derek goes, "If you didn't know who I am, I don't think you would have quote tweeted that." Wink. And he's like, "Oh, it has been pointed out to me who you are, the guy who ate shit from Trudeau." And I think Derek stopped.
Yeah, that was kind of it. I wonder if he blocked him. Derek, who's all about free speech, freedom movement, free speech. I'm all about the free speech, until you say something that runs counter to his narrative, and then he will block you and run away and cry. I watched. Did you see the episode? Did you see the episode where he appeared with Dean and Caryma on
I haven't seen it yet. I have it on in my queue, but
I had to take breaks from it because I was ready to reach through the screen and punch him right in the face. Yeah. Now, there are times when I feel compassion for the man, and other times where I'm going like, that's bullshit. Look, we've all had our struggles and troubles in our lives.
Yes.
Nobody is immune to issues.
Right.
We don't need to take it out on the rest of society because we've had a rough go.
Right.
And I know my rough go has mostly been in my brain. Other than the 2 or 3 months I spent on a cancer ward when I was 11, that definitely affected the traumatic moments there, that definitely created the brain disorders that I have. That's, the moment where I cracked, if you will. But I know you had a much harder go of your childhood than I ever had of mine. And not just, struggling with your sexuality. There's other elements there that, and again, that's as far as I'm taking it. You discuss that however you want to. It's not my life. I don't get to comment or say anything, but you're one of the sweetest, nicest, kindest, most optimistic, caring human beings I've ever known in my life. Oh, I'm getting emotional thinking about it.
Wow, thank you.
And you have not, you've turned out to be a brilliant, beautiful human being who had a troubled upbringing.
Yep.
You chose to take the higher road and the higher path. You made a conscious decision to be a better human being and do better things for humanity.
And it was conscious.
Of course it was.
No, but
you could have went the other way.
Yeah, but it literally was conscious. I literally had the discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I got to one point in my life and I thought, okay, here's the path I'm on now. If I continue, because I'm a curler, if I continue down this path, 5 years later, where will I be? Where will the rock curl? Okay, this is where I will be. Yes. Where do I want to be 5 years from now? Okay, there's not that. What's the spread?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now working backwards, what do I need to change now in order to be able to, cover that spread 5 years from now? And then I just, like Nike, I just did it.
Mm-hmm.
There were millions of reasons not to. It's going to be too hard. It's going to be. I just did it. But I took the stereotypical, like I'm a Taurus, and when I was a kid, I was a stereotypical Taurus. Right. Not only did I have to be right about everything, I had to be right. And when you're a smart kid, and everybody keeps on telling you how smart you are and how mature you are and how smart and mature you are.
Oh yeah, you believe it.
The biggest insult you can get is, for a guy who's smart like you, boy, you start doing dumb things, right? Like this, or normally you're so mature. I can't believe you did that. And I'm just so disappointed in you. Like that cuts, right? Because your identity is the smart and the mature one, right? Like this. So, but yeah, I was pretty darn precocious when I was a kid, and I sat there and I thought, like, this is where I'm going to end up is not going to be good. So I need to make those changes. But that stubbornness, I had to be right, and not only I had to be right, I had to have you know that I was right, and I had to have you acknowledge that I was right for every single freaking thing. I was annoying as fuck. It was more annoying because 95% of the time I was right, which makes it even more annoying for the people. Like, just because I had to have you say it. You had to say it.
And when
then at one point I realized it just didn't matter.
That's just it, right? I was just about to say it really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. But that takes life experience to learn and understand that.
Yep.
Right? When you're very young, especially in your teenage years, in your early 20s, your frontal lobes aren't fully formed. So you don't understand a damn thing. You think you do.
Yep.
And you're convinced you're always right.
Yep.
But you don't understand a damn thing. Now, look, again, I have compassion for Derek because he had troubles in his life. The difference is he chose to blame everybody else and take it out on everybody else. And I watched the entire episode, but it took me a while to get through it. And he obviously has more mental health issues than I do. He needs therapy, maybe some medication. What he chooses to do is his decision. I can't force anybody to do any of those things, nor would I. You're free to do what you wish. But when you take out your mental health issues on the rest of the world and refuse to acknowledge that you're doing it, you're an asshole. Stop being an asshole.
Yep. Yeah. But, I also, I'm figuring once you get at that point, there might be something similar to addiction at that point where you just don't have that mastery over self. Just stop being an asshole.
Well, and you can have an addiction to things that aren't pharmacologically related.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You could be addicted to drama, for example.
Oh, I've worked with people like that. Oh boy,
that's why I have on my morning floor.
I think this is number 4 today.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it's like I'm on my personal profile. It's like it's like no energy vampires, please. I'm just don't. I guess, and you can add drama magnets to that too. Energy vampires and drama magnets. I have no time.
Yeah.
I have no time.
Well, life is too short. A very good buddy of mine absolutely will do anything to avoid confrontation. And I asked him, I said, what does that come from? And he says, well, my father was married 3 times. He said I was the youngest one in the family. I had, 3 different mothers. It was complex for him. And I understand. Look, I don't like confrontation either. If I can avoid it, I will. I will go the diplomatic route if I have to. There are times when I can't avoid it. So you've backed me into a corner. You've done this at your own peril because I am a calm diplomatic pacifist until you back me into a corner.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then I'm mean. Then I'm mean.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, and I think that's the thing with me too, right? Because you say like I'm nice and I'm sweet and whatnot, but that does not mean I don't have the capacity.
Oh no, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right?
Do not mistake my kindness and compassion for weakness
or an unwillingness to stand up, or don't mistake the fact that I will bend over backwards to be helpful. And and that I'm willing to sacrifice and go without so that you can have, as me being a doormat.
Mm-hmm.
You find that welcome mat gets pulled back very quickly.
Rhiannon's really summed it up quite well. Derek does need a hug and some therapy. He has created an enemy to fight against rather than work on himself. However, I'm not sure how to accomplish that one. I completely agree.
That's a typical strategy.
Yeah. I mean, look, I discovered a long time ago that I had issues and I needed to work on them. And I'm going to continue to work on them for the rest of my life. It's a work in progress. The English language is funny, right? Look at that building under construction. Well, isn't the term building a verb which would indicate that it's under construction? Why do we call them buildings when they're finished? Shouldn't we call them completes? Because they're no longer building it. It's finished.
Look at that erected. It's so lovely.
We need another word because it doesn't work.
Where do you live? In a built?
A built. I live in a built. What?
I live in a built.
Don't you mean a building? No, they stopped doing that like 50 years ago. It was
it's a built now.
50 years ago. English language is funny.
Hey, baby, your built or mine?
Well, I mean, it's like a building is complete. It's a build. I will never be complete. I will be working on myself for the rest of my life. And I'm okay with that because, quite frankly, it's not a destination. It's a journey, right? I know we've all heard and said that a million times, but it's true. It's true. I'm trying to get somewhere. And when I get to where I'm going, I'm going to want to go somewhere else.
Right.
I'll spend some time there, have a little visit, maybe a cocktail or two, and then move along to somewhere else. That's what life is.
It becomes the next platform from which you jump off for your next adventure, for your next growth.
So again, I feel compassion for Derek, but he's just such an obnoxious little shit that I can't stomach him. I mean, I felt compassion for a lot of the people who were occupying my neighborhood and threatening my friends and neighbors, including me. I had some death threats, but I didn't take any of them seriously because they're all keyboard warrior cowards. And I did send them off to some people in positions of authority and power to let them know this happened, this happened, this happened. They're like, okay, well, we'll keep an eye out if anything comes up. But nothing came up, of course, because they're keyboard warrior cowards. So I wasn't concerned for a split second at all. Not at all.
Yep. I hear you. I have a couple of little things for you here. With regard to just to finish off a little bit on China for the day. I like to do bullshit tests. So here's my BS test. Which is more likely to be in bed with China? A, liberals who very publicly introduced a strategy to move away from China, led by a prime minister who stood up to Xi during the hostage diplomacy negotiations, as well as at the G20 meeting when Xi had his camera person and his interpreter try to give our prime minister a little smackdown, and our prime minister reminded them how things work in a democracy. Or B, conservatives who very secretly, conservatives who first wanted to take a position against China did not attend the Olympics, after which the prime minister finally did go to China, was very, very, very much scolded by the chairman, and sat there quietly, said nothing, and took his lumps like a good boy, and then apologized for not having gone to see China for the first 2 years by hand delivering very secretly, as opposed to very publicly introducing a strategy as a prime minister did, but very secretly negotiating a 31 trade deal that would surrender some 31-year trade deal that would surrender some of our sovereignty to China, the terms of which we weren't allowed to know at any point before, and I think probably still are not allowed to know the full terms of.
But they want to convince us that conservatives are strong and will stand up for you?
Or that China would really, 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 really prefer liberals to conservatives?
Sorry, excuse me. I'm about to drown in bullshit over here.
I was like, you rolled over and asked for scritches.
Yeah.
On your belly. Our prime minister turned around and said, no, China, you're not going to impose China law in Canada. We are not going to be your bitch. But apparently we're supposed to believe that the prime minister, anyway, I'm just
here's something I need to point out. The both of us have been accused of many times. You're always simping for Trudeau. No, we're not. We're pointing out facts. Oliver's strong. No, he's not, and we can prove to you.
We're doing a comparative fact analysis.
When was the last time, and please, if anybody's watching, please cite to me the last time or the first time or the only time or any time where I've ever heaped praise upon the Prime Minister. I'd like to know, because I, from the top of my head, cannot recall a single moment in time where I've ever done that on this show.
I'm sure there's been a couple of times where he's like, that was a really good move when he's like,
but
when he talked after he had the rocks thrown at him and stuff like that. Like there was
things that should be complimented, though. I'm things like the child care program, the dental care. Those are good for all Canadians.
But you've never gone like, oh my God, the Prime Minister is so fantastic. I love him. He should be Prime Minister for life. I'll always vote for him. He's got my vote.
No, I'm not simping for anybody, and I never will. And as I have said countless times in the past, and will say it again in the future, I belong to no political party. I never have, and I never will. I've voted for all of the major parties at different elections throughout the course of my life. When the MP in my riding, the best choice for the MP in my riding was a particular party, because we don't elect a prime minister, we elect a parliament. And the leader of that particular party in power becomes prime minister, or can defer if they wish. I've never seen it happen, and I don't think it ever will. But they could defer to the deputy leader of the party if they so chose. It could happen. But again, we vote for our members of parliament in the ridings that we live in. We do not elect a prime minister. We elect a parliament, which is why I voted for, the four big parties, if you will: NDP, Liberal, Progressive Conservative, and the Green Party. This current crop of reformers, no, they ain't getting my vote. Not ever. Not in a million years. They're crystal fascists as far as I'm concerned. I mean, how many of them fought against banning conversion therapy? They didn't want to ban conversion therapy. Torture. Actual torture in the 21st century. They didn't want to put a ban to it. Sorry, but you'll never get a vote from me. Never. And that is when I voted along party lines. I knew that the Conservative MP in my riding was actually a good person. I bet I said point blank, sorry, I can't vote for you because I know how our system works, and you're a good person, but your party is terrible. So I can't cast a vote in that direction. And they were understanding. They did understand. They were trying to make the changes from inside the house, which I do appreciate. But the way that party certainly is right now, it's not going to happen. It has to be splintered. Because it's the Reform Party. It's not the Progressive Conservative Party of Canada. Hasn't been for a long time.
I concur. So yeah, there's your bullshit test. To say, some happier news.
Oh, I like that.
Close to the end of the show, because you had mentioned it a little bit in the chat about yesterday's show, but we didn't get in your description that you wrote, because Mr. Grizzly writes the pre-show descriptions, and then we end up talking about whatever I bring. So it's not like I really read them.
Thank you for appreciating my efforts.
Well, it's not like I read them before. It's like I get, oh, okay, this is what he said we're talking about today. Boy, is he going to be surprised? Or it's like, oh man, he nailed it today. He guessed right. But you did mention the Ottawa Senators.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I am not a big watcher of the big four sports, but I do like my Sens. Now, I'm not an avid watcher. I won't say I'm a bandwagoner. I'm not a bandwagoner, but I'm a casual viewer because I've always loved my Sens, like from day one. But given that it's been X number of years since they've made the playoffs, I've kind of sort of fallen
by the wayside.
Fallen by the wayside a little bit. But I always monitor. Monitor. And kids, if you will. This is I like this because this is where I get to show up a little bit of my.
You got to blow that up. Blow that up like 200%.
It's where I get to show
one more. Yeah, there we go. That's better. We can see that.
A bit of a jog. So this is the Eastern Conference standings, and the Ottawa Senators have won their last 4 games in a row.
They've been on a bit of a tear. They could make the playoffs.
They've been on for a while.
Yes, they have.
Like this, they're winning. For the last maybe 2 months now.
Mm-hmm.
I would say they're winning way more. And I mean, if you're looking at all of these divisions, like
Well, Boston's so far out in front, it's ridiculous.
Yes, but I mean, it's 4 wins, right? They're okay. Boston's doing better, but they're playing better than the Carolina Hurricanes at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
Right, better than Toronto Maple Leafs, better than so. They were about down here in 15th place a couple of weeks ago, and they are in 10th. They are 4 points outside of 8th place, with about 21 matches to go in the season.
Yeah, they could walk in through the front door, not sneak in through the back.
If they continue at this rate, their win percentage for the rest of the season, they're in.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's an incredible comeback story. I do not know whoever that coach did, whoever he is.
Well, they've got a young team with a lot of promise, and every pundit, every sports pundit, sports talking head commentator for the last couple of years has said, keep your eye on this team. They got a lot of young, talented players. If they can get them to gel together and play together well, they'll be a team to keep your eye on. And I've even had friends of mine who are Leafs fans said, I've been watching Ottawa and they show so much promise. There's a couple of key segments here and there we need to fill, a couple of positions. They just last night got a new defenseman just before the trade deadline. Okay. And yeah, a lot of promise. Now, look, a lot of us were heartbroken when Erik Karlsson was traded. And a lot of us kind of walked away, I wouldn't say entirely, but just it left a bitter pill in our mouth, bitter taste in our mouth. Same thing when they traded Daniel Alfredson, and that happened on my birthday. That was a tough one to take. But yes, I understand it's a business at the end of the day. I understand it's a business at the end of the day, and I understand business decisions need to be made. But sometimes you can break the hearts and backs and minds of the fans, and those tough decisions can lose people sometimes. And when they traded Karlsson, a lot of people did. I wouldn't say walked away, but definitely turned their backs for a little while. And they've slowly been rebuilding the team since that time. And I get why they did what they did. Again, business decisions, got to trim the payroll and make room for some new young talent. I get all of that, but it hurt. As a fan or a fanatic, you feel betrayed, and betrayal can really sting for a long time. But times have changed. The team is growing and getting better. They haven't made the playoffs since Karlsson was on the team, but this could be the year they get back in. And here's the weird thing. You never know what's going to happen once you're in the playoffs. I mean, the Montreal Canadiens made it to the finals just 2 short years ago, which nobody predicted. Least of all, many Canadians fans. I mean, you've got the diehard believers, of course, but most people going like, I never saw that one coming.
Right.
Made it to the finals. They didn't win because, I mean, Carey Price put the team on his back and carried them to the finals. As the goaltender, you don't score the goals. So unless somebody else is putting them in the net, But yeah, it's a good, it shows promise, and I think the team has a shot. Hey, look, they can't do worse than the Leafs. 5 years in a row have been knocked out in the first round after leading each round. I mean, come on, going 7 games because they were up 3-1 and blew it. That's masochism.
That is. And
remember, Leafs is an acronym, by the way. It's an acronym. Losers even after 50 seasons. They haven't been in the Stanley Cup final since 1967. The year before I was born.
And way before.
When there were 6 teams.
Not way before I was born.
There were only 6 teams.
And in similar news for our kids, now this is just, now you're just being nasty. Here we go. Screw you, Mr. Yeah. Them's are fighting words now.
Look, I was a Leafs fan.
We don't shy away from controversy here.
No, I was a Leafs fan growing up, but I've lived in the city of Ottawa since 1980, save for a couple of years when we got transferred out. So Ottawa's been my home. So I've always cheered for the Ottawa football franchise, whether it was the Rough Riders, the Renegades, or the Red Blacks. And when Ottawa got an NHL franchise 30 plus years ago, I started cheering for Ottawa.
Oh, yeah.
every game. But when they played Toronto, I was like, well,
Yeah, I was like that with the Canadians. I was like,
yeah. But after about 4 or 5 years, I made the decision and switched, because it was like, well, I can go and I've been to these games. I get to see these guys. I can afford to go to a game. Well, less so now, but you know what I mean. So yeah, that's my story. That's my story.
Now, in other sporting news that the whole nation is waiting to hear about, similar things are happening to Team Connors Fabro at the Royal Kingston Curling Club 2-person stick league. I know. You've been waiting for this, kids. I know, but I'm sharing it with you. We've been on a bit of a tear there, kids. You might have to remove the little your eager beaver down at the bottom if you can.
That's you. I can't do that.
I can't remove that. Okay, then I'll just scroll.
I can't do that.
Okay, but here are the standings, kids. We have 27 teams in the league, and the top 16 make the playoffs. And right now, with our win yesterday, we are in a 4-way tie for 16, but because we have the highest win percentage, we are 16 with 3 games left to go. And we've been on a tear. Because a few weeks ago, we beat this team, number 2. And then a couple weeks later, we beat this team, number 9. And my partner is not only brand new to stick curling, but brand new to curling, period. And
I don't know what stick curling is.
It's it's basically a sort of like a shuffleboard stick. It has a thing that grabs the handle, and then you walk and you push it rather than slide for people that have bad knees, so that they can keep playing the game. So yeah.
Didn't Colin tell us how he played stick curling once and got his ass handed to him?
Yes.
Yeah, yes. Colin Hodgson, who is a national, he's been on the national team a couple of times.
No, not
the
the
national team. No,
hasn't made the national team, but close.
Oh, close, right? Yeah.
Very, 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 very close.
Prominent curler,
and almost and close to going to the Olympics too. But very,
right. And he said he played a game of stick curling, and he said I immediately had my ass handed to me, so it was very humbling.
Yes. The people there are deadly with their precision. So yeah, there we go. We are in 16th place. The future is ours. Our destiny is in our own hands. I think we've won like about 4 or 5 in a row. So we're on a bit of a tear. So come on, people, send your good vibes, because I've been playing for 3 years and I've never once made the playoffs.
Well, the first time.
This is my year. All right, Mr. Grizzly. Oh, one more thing. You're gonna love this. This one made me very, very, very happy, Mr. Grizzly, if you will. So we got AEG 527, who frequently participates and corresponds with us on our Twitter feed. Mm-hmm. And he's quoting a tweet by Andrew Pinsent, who's a good reporter who covered the Tupac stuff very well when they were trying to take over the St. Bridget's Church in Ottawa. So he puts out a tweet saying, lawyers representing Freedom Convoy organizers sued over negligence claims. Which warms my cockles. And AEG 527 basically shares that with me. And to which I responded, ooh. He goes, I love it when they eat their own, which then generates a
Julia Child, bon appetit.
This is Julia Child, bon appetit. I hope they go back for seconds, which of course got me the spit take gift.
Of course.
Thank you very much.
Tis a classic.
You've done particularly well when you get the spit take gift, when you get the Morgan Freeman, or you get the Meryl and the Jennifer. Then it's like, ooh, I got a Meryl. Yay.
Okay, I was very confused by this from Ree. Oh, by the way, the gardeners out there, the Vessie's catalog has some beautiful plants this year. It's soon time. I'm like, Vessie's, the shoes? The shoe company? I guess no, it's not the shoe company. Vessie's are a type of shoe.
I did not know that.
Yes. Call me oh my goodness, I see her face right now and I can't think of her name. Call me Kate? No, call me on TikTok. She's a lovely Canadian woman who was a hairdresser who, when the world shut down in March of 2020, late March of 2020, she had to stay home. So she started a TikTok account, and then it slowly grew from there. And she has somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 million followers. That's what she does full time now, is TikTok. She's done some acting. She creates all these different characters, and she's brilliantly funny. And her name is I can see her face. Her name is escaping me right now. Hilarious. If you're going to follow anybody on TikTok, she's the one to follow. Along with everything is just, it's all falling out of my head.
It's all falling out of your head, eh? Yep.
Yeah. Can't think of the names right now. It happens. It happens.
Make a note. We'll tell them on another episode.
Yes, I'll bring it up and show some stuff.
Also, I just want to give a little thanks to Saucy when we were talking about addiction.
You got some music playing in the background? We're getting all kinds of weird noise.
I've lost your sound in my ear again. Hold on, I'll check to see if it's at my end.
Gonna bring you out and back in again because your sound's gone haywire. There we go.
Yeah. Anyway, Saucy mentioned, and I wanted to read this.
I got stuff playing in the background here.
Eric Oliver and his folks don't actually want them to live. Some of the comments you see from people about addicts.
Can't hear a thing you're saying.
Until someone is an addict, you have no idea. Then you are shunned and defeated while all you want is to live. And that's the thing. Why don't they just get off the other things?
You have no sound.
Not about the decision.
Yeah, you've got no sound.
You don't have the full ability to make something that has its. Oh.
Yeah, we can't hear you. Yes, we can't hear you.
Oh.
Jump in and out. Your voice went all digital. Okay, well, we're not going to worry about it because it is, we've been at 2 hours and 15 minutes. So we'll just wrap it up. Say thanks. Thanks for joining us. You can, of course, find us on a multitude of places. Wherever you get your fine podcasts for the audio version. If you like the show, please, click on that little subscribe button right there. And if you want to help us from a financial standpoint, you can go up here and scan that little QR code, or reach us on our coffee page. You can also get all of our audio shows on our pod page, True North Eager Beaver. And we want to say thanks for everybody for joining us. Okay, he's back. Let's see.
Yeah, I hear you now.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, okay, your camera's gone haywire though, but at least we can hear you now.
All right. Now I've lost the comments, unfortunately, though. But I was trying to read in a couple of comments from Kit Saucy, who had, when we were talking about addictions, who had made some great comments about, from what I can go from memory. Sorry, I can't quote it now because I've had to relog in. But there's no real sense that Pierre Oliver actually wants to help these people. They would rather see them suffer. And, the thing is that, when it comes to an addiction, people keep on saying all the time, say, well, why don't you make a better decision? But you have to understand that an addiction gets its claws into you.
Mm-hmm.
You're not fully rational. It's not as easy as just deciding, I'm tired of this. I'm going to do better. Because there's actually stuff going on in your body that's fighting whatever willpower you have to actually make that happen. So it's like, if you don't have the compassion, if you just think, your life is already worthless. So what would you care if we pulled you off the street and forced you into a treatment? It's like, their lives are so worthless. What do you care if we provide them? We should be spending money on safe supply. It's a waste of money. We should, all these types of thoughts like this all comes down to devaluing life. Because, well, you should have made a better decision then. Well, okay. Yeah, maybe you should have made a better decision to not try drugs the first time. But once you're addicted, you're not actually deciding to use drugs. Something else is making that decision for you.
Exactly.
And that inability to be able to have enough empathy to put yourself in someone else's shoes. It's just, Right, let's get saucy. People drink coffee, smoke cigarettes, etc. would have a hard time if they were illegal. Look at cigarette smokers. There's access, safe supply, and way less stigma. Bingo.
Mm-hmm.
We have it for some things. We don't have it for other things. And I just don't understand why we're just not being consistent across the board. Would be way more simple. All right, Mr. Grizzly, we have a show?
Yes, and I did find the link that I wanted to talk about. Call me Chris.
Okay.
On TikTok, her Chris HC, she has 48.6 million followers, 2.1 billion likes. Her channel is daily subpar content, and she creates all these characters. And one of my favorite is she's like what I think it would be like to have a toddler, or comparison to talking to her parents. And I'm going to put up one clip because it's hilarious, and it's supposed to be her talking to her dad. Give me a sec while I cue it up here, and just enjoy this for what it is. She's a lovely Canadian woman from British Columbia. I think I don't know if she's in Vancouver or Toronto now, but she's all over the world and traveling, and this is her doing her thing.
Lloyd? That's right. It's me, your son. And it's Lloyd, Dad. No. Lloyd. I named you. You ruined my life. How could I ruin your life? I wasn't even there.
How did I ruin your life? I wasn't even there.
This is here's a beautiful one here. What I imagine it's like to have a toddler. Okay, we'll share this one, and then we'll wrap it up. Here's this is good. This is classic. I love this. It's so funny. I gotta share the screen first. I find if you do that, it works better.
I haven't got that one down yet.
So this is her playing her mom, and then she plays all the characters herself. Okay, so this is Call Me Chris, and what I imagine.
Tortellini.
Oh, hey, Ma.
Hey, Nona. It's almost noon, and you're still in your sweatpants.
Riley, can you tell your Nona it's a Sunday and we're having a movie day?
Mom told me to tell you that it's Sunday. Can you tell your mother that I just watched an 8-part series on Netflix about how screens rot your brain? Nona told me to tell you she watched an 8-part
You want to tell your Nona to repeat the sentence she just said and realize how backwards idiotic that just sounded?
Mom told me to tell your mother we forced her to go outside, rain or shine, until the sun went down, and look how she turned out. Nona said...
You want to tell your Nona I got bullied every day by the neighbor kids because she stuck me outside, and that's probably why I have trust issues and social anxiety and need to go to therapy on a daily basis?
Tell your mother back in my day, we didn't go to therapy. We did the healthy thing with our feelings, the 3 Bs. Beat down, bury, and bottle. That doesn't seem healthy.
Can you ask your Nona why she's even here?
Tell her I'm here because I wanted to ask if you guys wanted to go to the movies with me.
You tell your Nona.
Well, that was rude. Hello, my little
Yeah, so if you're going to have a TikTok, that's your number one follow. Is Chris. Call me Chris. And the other one I was thinking of is Selena Spooky Boo, and they collaborate together from time to time. And here's a quick little one with Selena Spooky Boo and Call Me Chris in a collaboration, and this was a draft, and she decided to air it. So here it is.
Hi. Hi. Come to this place often? Sometimes. What are you doing there? Trimming my bush. I like to keep it tidy. This is my bathroom. In here. It's what are you doing? Mind your damn business. Why are you sitting on it backwards? Mind your damn business. I don't even know. You shouldn't like you to leave. Okay, I'm moving out. Hey. Hey. Is your name Jean? Because you're wearing them.
I am. Did you use your echolocation to find me? Or the smell of my musk?
It was... Who are you?
Don't mind me, I'm just a whisper in the wind.
Okay.
You want me to push you?
I'd love that.
Because your beauty's been pushing me over the edge.
You're strong. Damn.
Yeah, I like when you slam back.
All their outtakes, right? Selena's
I love
Spooky
it
Boo.
when you slam back. Really?
Selena's page, the one she got me with, she has, cameras throughout her house and she sleepwalks. So it was the one day in the winter where she walks out onto the front lawn and throws 6 cans of beer into what she thinks is the pool because they're having a pool party on her front lawn. She was sleepwalking. She releases the video. She's like, I told you I sleepwalk. Somebody's like, you made that up? She's like, no, I didn't. And her partner was like, no, she sleepwalks. I've caught her many times. We put the cameras up so we could create content out of it because it's funny. So yeah, Selena Spooky Boo, Canadian woman from Southern Ontario. And Call Me Chris from British Columbia. It's just 2 of the funniest people on TikTok.
Oh my God, I love that. That's
Give it a
brilliant.
go. Yeah.
Oh, and in other good news, just so you know, I wanted to mention it because I'm a tennis freak. Congratulations to Stacy Fung, an up-and-coming tennis player who just won the $25,000 Santo Domingo event and is now up in the top 400 in the world. I think she climbed up to 336 with that win. So, way to go. We love it.
Awesome.
Canadians are doing us proud. Well, kids, that's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver podcast. We hope you love listening to us because we love making this for you. Remember that sharing is caring and word of mouth is priceless. So please let your peeps know about us. And Kits, thank you for putting us on the charts again. We had 2 days on the charts. Unfortunately, you've had to wait a couple of days for some episodes because as you saw, Mr. Grizzly was on remote and the laptop was at the remote and everything was recorded on it. But the laptop had to stay at the remote location for a while. But as of yesterday, the 3 shows that had been missing are now available for podcasts and are now on circulation on our Twitter feed. So please take the time to listen to them. And thank you for putting us on the charts again. We really appreciate it. If you really like this podcast, you can find us on Crier Media Network, as well as all Beaver Grizzly friendly platforms. Stars and reviews are appreciated. Please give us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 if it allows you, but 5 stars. If it's less, we'll take them. We'll take them. I guess we're not there to tell you actually how many stars to give us. That's up to you to decide.
That's your decision.
Every single one of them. And if you have the time to leave a review, also please do. Apparently that helps people when they're doing searches find us and makes us more popular and attracts more viewers and listeners. And we always want more listeners and viewers because that's why we do it. If it was just one person, we would still do it because we'd be having a conversation. But if you got a message, you want people to hear it, right? So,
oh yeah.
Yeah. We love to hear from you as well. So please reach us on our Facebook page at True North Eager Beaver, on our Twitter feed at True Eager, or by email via truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com. Or if you are listening to us on our YouTube channel, our True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube channel, you can leave us a comment there too. Reread them. If you want us to come straight to you when we have something fresh off the bandwidth and right into your box, just slide on in. Not rough, just gentle. Well, you can do that. Come to our, I see you giggling, Mr. Grizzly. Come to our Podpage site, podpage.com. Oh, yes. Oh, are we doing the synchronized tea drinking? There we go. Why not subscribe to our True North Eager Beaver channel? That helps us up big time. We're closing in on 170, so you kids are doing it. Thank you very much. We're growing. We're growing. We appreciate it. We can't do this without you or your kind and generous support. So if you feel that we've done a particularly good job and we've given a good show for you today, then you can scan the QR code on the top left of the screen above Mr. Grizzly there, and that will bring you to our tip jar. And if you're listening, our tip jar is at our coffee page. That's ko-fi for coffee.com/eagerbeaver, ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver, and that's where you can make your donation. Or if you'd rather get something for your money, the QR code you see at the bottom of your screen, well, that leads you to our merch store where you can find Eager Beaver tees and Mr. Grizzly Civic tees, and sizes from small to 3XL, something for literally everybody that you could put on and let everybody know that you are an engaged and informed citizen, and increase your Irish look by 21.4%. Newest data from the lab. We test for this stuff. So, wear our shirts, get lucky. Just saying. All right. And our Crier Media Merch shop store is get your. Sorry. I got echo.
I don't know what happened. Oh, hang on. Try again.
Okay. Our Crier Media, thank you, store is where you go to get yourself some fabulous today. From the Beaver Lodge, this is your Eager Beaver saying, until next time, dear kids, it could be a tough world out there, so please be kind to and very gentle with yourself. And hello, Kit, Mr. Gotius. It's nice to see you today. And Kit Bruce, lovely to see you. Mr. Grizzly, do you have some words of wisdom for us today to send us off to a glorious weekend?
Do I go dark or do I go light? I'm going to go light instead of dark because we've kind of hammered the hell out of it this week, which means we're going to continue to do it next week when it comes to flip-flop Skippy. I just posted, that shot a second ago. He's going on about bring home free speech, but the moment a woman of color, a Muslim woman of color, decides to quietly sit and observe, he has to boot her out. We discussed that at the beginning of the show. I figured I'd bookend it with that, but I'm going to go light.
Yes.
We'll hammer the hell out of that next week. I'm going to go light. And the lightness I'm going to bring you is, remember that everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Please be kind. Doesn't mean you allow yourself to be a doormat. You can be kind and compassionate and caring, but you don't have to let people beat you up. So stand up for yourself. But it's chaos out there. Be kind.
Mm-hmm. I see Kitty Lane says, we need the mailing address to mail the flip-flops. Well, because I'm an Eager Beaver and I like to help, the mailing address is Pierre Poliver, House of Commons, Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, K1A as an apple, 0 A as an apple, or asshole, 6. Karen 1 asshole, 0 asshole 6.
There you go.
Slip your flip-flops in the mail and just mail them to Petey. See? We like to help here. Democracy is something that you do. Mail some flip-flops.
Some flip-flops.
All right, Mr. Grizzly, please roll the credits. You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. Have a wonderful weekend, kids. We're sorry that we didn't get Mr. Mubin Sheikh for you today, but I'm guessing that there was
life
issues, and we will definitely have him on. It's not a time-limited offer, so and I'm sure that he wants to participate. So we'll have him for you another day. But thank you for keeping us company and enjoying the show, and for all your support. Have a wonderful weekend.
See you soon.